Hey guys, God's comic Brad Stine. Hey, have you ever heard someone say to you that religion is a crutch? Today I'm going to prove that Christianity is a crutch, and that's a good thing because it means atheism is a coma. Confused? Hobble on in. You know, one of the sure signs your belief system is lacking in substance and validity is if it has to constantly borrow substance from other belief systems in order to sustain itself. As a late and wonderful apologist, Ravi Zacharias used to say all worldviews, and we all have them, whether religious or irreligious, need to answer these four questions to be coherent and of existential value. Origin: where did we come from? Meaning: why are we here? Morality: how do we determine right from wrong? And destiny: is there ultimate justice? And where do we go when we die? Now, many various religions and philosophies and worldviews have been postulated over the ages to try and answer these questions. And yet, of all the options, no worldview has been so lacking in coherence and justification of any of these four ideas than atheism. Atheism is literally the only religion, and it is a religion, that when thought through to its logical conclusion, literally has no answers for anything that is most important to humans. Starting with Nietzsche, the stark reality of atheism is it has no choice but to lead to nihilism. That's why atheism has to constantly scramble to justify its perspective as true philosophically without ever being able to even get off the ground. That's one of the reasons you find the new atheists and the social media atheist trolls virtually always delivering their message with these two character traits underpinning every comment, at least in my experience, and in some of the comments you're about to see below this episode. These two constructs that they always deliver it with: anger and arrogance. Oh, and with a dash of insults and mockery on the side. Now, have you ever noticed and wondered why new atheists seem to be so angry and vitriolic to those who believe in God? I mean, why do these neo-atheists find such pleasure in trying to hurt others who disagree with them? And they know they're doing that. There are thousands of atheists whose only goal in life is to find a Christian thread, extolling the joy of God, and putting insulting and blasphemous comments in hopes of getting a response. This is the atheist version of pulling the wings off of flies, I guess. There's something dark and twisted and frankly sociopathic about where they need to go to find pleasure and fulfillment in their lives, because based on their behavior, clearly something is missing. It's not inconsistent, though, as every atheist-driven government in human history has always been the most abusive in regards to human rights. No philosophy in human history has murdered, tortured, imprisoned more innocent men, women, and children than atheism, period. But that's another episode. But there is something pathological about why this form of human engagement and conflict would give the atheist pleasure, don't you think? As though they feel left out of something, and instead of going their merry way and simply live and let live, they see it as necessary to try to tear down everybody else's comfort along the way. Now, please keep in mind, when I say comfort, I don't want you to get the idea that only theists find their worldview true and a means of comfort. I mean, this idea of comfort has been viewed as suspect sometimes, by which the phrase religion is a crutch came into the vernacular. But a crutch doesn't give anyone comfort as much as it supports you and gives you assistance while your brokenness is on the journey of healing. I love the metaphor of a crutch because a crutch is a physical item, something that is manifested in the material world and actually does exactly what it's designed to do: help you get where you're going. By the way, the crutch doesn't do the walking for you. That's your responsibility. You could choose to stay in bed all day while your leg is healing, but a crutch allows you to keep moving even in the midst of brokenness and pain. Oh, and keep in mind that a large majority of Christians believe because they also see design in nature as well, which leads their intellect to see God. So, no crutch necessary. I think that God is a crutch metaphor really breaks down when you realize that when we see people actually using crutches in real time, no one ever says to them, "What is wrong with you? You coward? You baby? You wussy?" Why is using a crutch as a crutch considered not only practical, but necessary? As a matter of fact, someone who refuses to use a crutch when it's needed and provided for is considered selfish and foolish and, most importantly, filled to the brim with pride. You see, if someone is provided a crutch and refuses to use it, they are damaging their healing process as well as burdening other people who now have to assist them and sacrifice their autonomy because you're too arrogant and selfish to admit you need help. The problem is the rest of us pay for your self-absorption and pride, yet that's exactly what atheists do. They use their atheism as a crutch. The difference between the atheist and the theist is the theists see their crutch as not only helping themselves, but we offer it to others to help them along their path as well. We see the crutch as a humbling reality that we all need God's help along the way because He alone is a healer, and we're just limping our way along as He helps us build our strength and stamina, right? The atheist, on the other hand, uses their crutch to beat the rest of us over the head with it. Atheism is the ultimate form of spiritual narcissism and is actually the oldest sin recorded and the one God said He hated the most. Pride. It claims, "I will be God." The famous new atheist Richard Dawkins made such a claim in regards to his atheism when he said Darwin made it possible to be an intellectually fulfilled atheist. In other words, Darwinism attempted to answer questions for him that he needed in regard to the world, since so much of it is in fact mysterious. In other words, atheism is a crutch for Richard Dawkins. Yet for Dawkins and most of the new atheists, it's not enough to simply not believe in God and leave it at that. No, it's crucial to reveal their self-appointed superior intellect and perspective by mocking and ridiculing and insulting and blaspheming any theist within earshot. If you think I'm being overly dramatic in my evaluating the hatred atheists seem to have for fellow humans, let me remind you that Daniel Dennett once said about religious people that once atheism, materialism rules the earth, they will put the remaining religious believers like me as artifacts in cultural zoos to be observed as relics and inferior humans to be mocked and ridiculed. As I noted earlier, this isn't just some sort of humorous diatribe. All atheist regimes from North Korea to China always arrest, torture, and murder the religious who had the audacity to not bow the knee and worship the material world and the state that proclaims itself God. So, when one of the four horsemen of the new atheism, Daniel Dennett, talks of locking us away, he means it. It's consistent with his worldview. You see, another important criteria for helping you evaluate a philosophy's worth is, does it give culture anything of value to uplift it and help leave it in a better than it found its state? Well, in the case of atheism, the history is clear. It has left nothing but death, destruction, and misery everywhere it was ever allowed to control. Of course, the typical retort is why we gave the world science, which I agree that science is a wonderful, important gift to the human race. Just one problem. Modern science was invented and created by Christians. Matter of fact, it could only have been created in a Christian world. Don't believe me? Well, stay tuned for that episode. It's coming. Meanwhile, the rest of us is just going to hobble along using our crutches, heading to the promised land. For those of you honest enough to admit your life seems to have no meaning, well, stick around for more episodes of Brad Stine Has Issues. Have I got some good news for you coming up? This is God's comic, Brad Stine. I never pull punches. We don't have time for that anymore. PC free is liberty. Hey guys, if you need another crutch of Brad Stine Has Issues to get you through the day and enlighten you, go to my YouTube channel, Brad Stine Has Issues. Subscribe and share it, please. And also, go to my Facebook fan page so you can like and follow that. The more people I build up, the more episodes I can make, and even more unique adventures I can record and bring to you. And we got a lot of great things in the future. So please subscribe immediately. Please help me build my ministry. That's what it is. It's a ministry. So, if you don't subscribe to it, you're going to hell. I think that's in heaven.